Hi, this is my friend Antoinette, and I will be interviewing her today. She lived in the Philippines for a few months, and I'm going to be talking with her about culture. So, hi, Antoinette.
Hi.
The first question I'm going to ask you is, how did you feel about meeting members of your culture for the first time?
I was a little nervous because it's like a third world country, so I knew that it was going to be a little bit different than what I was accustomed to, but I was excited to meet them and um, be accepted as part of their culture since I am half Filipino.
Okay. Before you met members of your culture, what did you expect them to be like?
Mm, well, just from my experience, I guess I expected them to be really talkative and outgoing and just really like energetic and I don't know, just like really outgoing.
Okay. Did you encounter any surprises when you began interacting with members of your culture?
um, I guess like I just underestimated the fact that they would be able to speak English easier than I thought they would. So that was really nice and unexpected. And the fact that they were just all really nice and welcoming.
Okay. How would you describe the experience of forming relationships with members of your culture?
I think that it was definitely like something new to get used to and like getting used to like their customs and the language and the dialect, like having an accent instead of just speaking English. But I mean, it was like something different to get used to at first, but then once I felt like I was welcome, then it was cool.
Okay. Did you notice any differences or similarities to your culture and how friendships were formed in members of the opposite sex?
Well, like courting is like a big thing there, so like you don't really like go on dates or like anything like they kind of have to like if boys want to date girls then they have to come to their house and like talk to their parents and kind of like court them like it's like this very like formal thing like you don't just like go to the movies or go to McDonald's.
Oh.
So it's like a very formal, so I noticed that that was like a big difference, like you don't just like hang out like you do here. And some similarities is like everybody texts and walks around and texts and is always on their phone, just like how people are here. So they're definitely like modernized and they have a lot of social media and are always on their phones, like how we're always on our
Yeah.
phones.
Did you notice any differences or similarities in your culture? Uh, Sorry, I don't really know this question. It says your own culture and the expectations or norms for friendships of members of the same sex.
mm, did I notice any differences in the norms of like friendships?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, like, I hung out with a lot of my cousins that were girls, and like they did typical things like how I do with my friends here, like going to the movies or going to the mall. So that was like kind of the same. Um, the difference is like girls don't go to like happy hour or like go out drinking, like how
Yeah.
we do here. So that was like a little bit of a difference. So I guess like socializing to an extent is the same, but not like going to the club or
Yeah,
going
like
to
social night
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
activities.
Like, I guess, like, what would be different is, like, here you go out with the intention to, like, meet up with people of the opposite sex if you're
Yeah.
with your friends. And, like, there you don't do that. Like, you just hang out with who you're hanging out with. You don't try to, like, meet up with people.
Okay. Last question. What advice would you give to people unfamiliar with the culture about forming relationships with members of your culture?
Okay, it cut out. You have to repeat the question.
Okay. What advice would you give to people unfamiliar with your culture about forming relationships, like in the Philippines?
The advice I would give is just be like really open to like not something like really different, but I mean just being open to like something different than what they're used to if they're not familiar with like Filipino culture. Always being really nice and like formal, like they're a culture that like really respects their elders and are always like really polite. So you always like address someone like by like what their title is, like whether they're like a grandma or an aunt, like you always have to like call them pretty much like your aunt or your grandma, like to be respectful. So I would say just be respectful and like be nice, like don't be mean or rude.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.